already been initialized. At which point the head referee will ask, blue lines, are you ready? Red lines, are you ready? He'll ask then his scorekeeper to randomize, which will show it on the screen as a rolled dice and the correct orientation of how each sample field should be changed. Each one of the 4 sample fields need to be changed at this point. And as soon as the randomization starts, no team can touch their driver control stations in any way. The penalty for that is within the game manual number 2, and will be on the back of your referee cheat sheet. It should be attached to the corner referees and the head referees' clipboards. That's just a guide. You actually want to read the rule before you apply any penalty. When the sample field has been reset, all the referees are back into the outside of the field. The head referee will ask, field, are you ready? Scorekeeper, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. That will be the start of autonomous. For the next 30 seconds, the robots are trying to score in one of 4 different ways, 4 different possible ways. If you have a latched robot, you can land, which just means that you're fully supported by the floor mats and you have delatched from the support brackets. Second way is normally to remove your gold sample. And the action of removing the gold sample from the tape area is the actual scoring of the sample field. As soon as it's removed, that's the score. If the robot is still in contact with the tape or with the mineral in this case, they are still scored because it's the action of removing the mineral from the tape is the scoring. Neither one of the tape nor the element or the mineral is considered a scoring element this year. It's the action that is the scoring element. The next thing that most robots will try to do is put their team marker into the depot. To be in the depot, it has to break the outside barrier of the depot's tape perimeter. Any part of this, and it has to be placed within that perimeter by the robot. It cannot be thrown, it cannot be launched, it cannot be rolled in. The robot actually has to place it in with very little to negligible horizontal velocity. As soon as that marker, the T marker is in the depot and is sitting on, or some part of it is touching the mat within the depot, that's the scoring action. If the robot then swivels and knocks it out of the depot, it is still a claimed depot. It's the action of the marker going onto the depot that scores. The last thing that the robot is going to try to do is to park in the crater. In this case, does not mean completely in, but any part of the robot has broken the boundary of the outside of the crater rim closest to the lander. So it could be a support arm is sticking over that boundary, or it could be a wheel on it. It doesn't matter. Any minerals that might have been scored during autonomous, whether it's in the depot or in the lander, will not be counted in autonomous. They will be counted in driver control. After autonomous is over, there is an 8-second period where the scoring system automatically the field timer will change to a gold 8 and it will start counting down. The scoring system will instruct the teams to go ahead and pick up your controllers, initialize your robots. At this point, initialization between the autonomous and driver control portion of the match, the robot has to remain motionless aside from servo twitches. Servo twitches are just slight movements within the robot that do not change the configuration of the robot, the direction of the robot, or the movement of the robot. If it does any of those things, it starts opening up collector arms, it rotates to get into a better scoring position, that would be considered an early start. In the driver control section, I'm sorry, at the end, when the timer counts down to the last 3 seconds, you'll see the timer turn to white, and you'll hear the scoring system count down 3, 2, 1, go. For the next 2 minutes, this is the driver control section. Driver control section of the match, they're trying to do one thing. They're trying to put minerals into the 2 scoring areas that they have, the correct cargo hold or into the depot. Again, the cargo holds are labeled as gold or silver. If a silver happens to go into the gold cargo hold, it will not count. The same with a gold going into the silver. If another alliance's silver happens to come into the your alliance's silver cargo hold, you would still count that. I wanted to start talking about some of the major penalties that you can, robots can have in the driver control period. GS3, which we already talked about, is controlling more than 2 minerals at any one time. When they're in the cargo hold, they can be in contact with as many minerals that they come into contact with. There's no GS3 restriction. As long as they are not trying to block the other alliance from those minerals, they can be in contact with as many as they want. Again, to be in the crater, it just can be their collection mechanism. It happens to be the rest of the robot can be outside the crater when this is going on. As soon as they've lifted outside the crater, that robot, they have to have control only 2 minerals. GS10, robots may not score while in the crater. This is the minor penalty for each one that they score, which will quickly advance to a yellow card. So a robot cannot sit in the crater and spill out 2 at a time to have them roll into the depot. They also cannot have one arm in the crater and another arm trying to score into the cargo hold. They must remove their entire robot from the crater, which means any collection arm has to be outside of the boundary area before they can score. GS4, a robot cannot descore or reposition minerals in the cargo holds. They can't reach in and try to position minerals. The reason that they might do this is that minerals can often get caught up here, how they were, by the way that they were, happen to fall in. So they can't come along and try to bump the lander purposely to reposition them. They can't try to bump a leg. Now, if they happen to bump the lander while they're trying to legally score other minerals, that's fine. But they can't have the intention of coming up and striking the lander to redistribute the minerals within inside. They also cannot descore a mineral from the cargo hold. They, however, can descore minerals from a depot that has not been claimed. And just to go back to autonomous, if both robots in the autonomous period have put down their team markers, that is a claimed depot and therefore is protected territory. If only one robot has put down a marker in their alliance's depot, that is unclaimed and therefore is available space, territory for either alliance. But if it's a claimed territory by both robots claiming it with their team markers during autonomous, then the red alliance cannot go into the blue depot and the blue cannot go, nor can the blue go into the red if the red has claimed theirs. It's important that the referees call out to the entire field which depots have been claimed during autonomous. If a depot has not been claimed, again, it can be descored. It can only be scored again. If red's coming over to descore out of blue, it can only do it 2 minerals at a time. The robot GS5, a robot cannot block opposing cargo hold or the support landing bracket. It's a major penalty. So if a robot is trying to approach their landing zone and I happen to be a blue robot, I can't stand in here or do what's called shadowing, where I'm trying to match the other approaching robot's movement. I have to give way so that the red robot could get into, can approach its scoring areas in the lander. GS9, only robots in their loading landing zone may launch minerals. To launch a mineral, you have some horizontal velocity. So it might be a vacuum system where it's actually spitting the minerals out. You can only launch in the, when you're standing, some part of the robot is in the landing zone. Again, this could be an arm that's extending, or it could be a wheel that's extending. However, robots can score from the outside this area if it has some. The only way a robot. Let me restart. Robots can not only can launch, but they can deposit minerals as well. You're depositing a mineral normally within this area. Only launching would have horizontal velocity. Any other type of deposit will just have essentially a vertical component, so it has to be within the landing zone. GS11. A robot cannot obstruct the travel in the area between the crater and the lander. It's only this area right here. So this is both a defensive and offensive advantage. A red robot can't sit here and suck out of the crater and score into the lander. The entire match, if a blue robot is trying to get through this area. It has to make way for that blue robot. It's got 5 seconds to do so. And it has to open up a space large enough for an 18-inch robot to pass through. That's not 18 inches. That's greater than 18 inches because no one can drive an 18-inch robot through an 18-inch hole. From the offensive standpoint, if a robot is trying to get into this area and it's trying to score here, an opposing robot can't just sit here and transit so that the robot trying to score can't get into the area. They, again, also have to move away. They have to, in this case, they have to be 3 feet or 1.5 tiles away within 5 seconds. Robots